Hello, and welcome to the new video on coding patterns. In this video, I'm going to discuss the visitor pattern using GD script. The visitor pattern is useful when you need to perform various operations on objects without modifying their existing structure. It allows you to separate the logic from the object, making it possible to apply different rules or calculations to the object without changing its core. This pattern enables you to add new operations or rules without altering the object's class, promoting flexibility and maintainability. For this purpose, we separate the rule objects from the objects they are acting on. Let's check how we can implement it. Here, we're doing a simple discount calculation for books and electronic items. So initially, I started with the ready function and added two classes, electronics and books. You can notice that at the top, I added a static function, not implemented. This is because when the extension is not implemented, I want to see an error. First, I created a visitable class with a basic method accept that can accept a visitor object and call the logic method from the visitor. After that, I extended both electronics and the visitable class because we're going to call the accept method from the ready function, which is essentially our main method. Suppose I need to add a title and a price for both objects. I also need to implement the define variables for the title and price in both the book and electronics classes. I also attempted to add the accept method for the electronics class, but later removed it, as I needed to check whether the exception was being triggered correctly. At this point, I wrote a visitor-based class with a visitBook method. At this point, I started writing the visitor class. In the visitor class, we will have two kinds of logic, one for books and one for electronics. First, I implemented the book-related logic. Based on the visitor pattern, I implemented the logic in it. For the sake of this video, we are calculating the discount for books. For that, I created a class, discountVisitor, that extends the visitor. So books can be visited and the discount calculation can be done in the discountVisitor's book. I made some modifications to clean up the code. I implemented the not implemented function in places where it's needed so that it triggers a proper exception when we encounter a situation where the implementation is missing. Otherwise, it would be very difficult to identify these issues. I started extending the electronics class using the visitable class. At this moment, I created a visitor with the discount visitor, and I iterated through the items, books and electronics. For the accept method, it was set up. After running the program, we got the result, which applied the discount rate for books, reducing the price by 10%. We also needed to check whether any errors occurred because we iterated through all the objects. This helped us clearly get the not implemented exception for the electronic data. Next, we implemented what needed to be accepted in the electronics class and wrote the corresponding logic for electronics inside the discount circuit. Essentially, it was something related to the discount. We made some modifications to the electronics part so that we would get the discount listed for the electronics. Now we're seeing the electronics logic applying a 20% discount to items after the calculations. Essentially, the discount logic has been separated from the objects. At this point, everything is in place. We have two distinct objects, an iteration mechanism to check each object, and we are passing a visitor object to the book and electronics classes. Each class then invokes the visitor method corresponding to that class to create an effect. Finally, I've conducted an experiment where I try to run the program without an electronics visitor. I expected to get the exception, but instead, we ran into an error. I updated the base visitor class to include the corresponding logic, and now we are getting the correct error. After enabling everything, we achieved proper results.